Hey everyone. So I just want to go ahead and talk about Thursday. Now, it was pretty cool, as you can probably not tell from the video. It was way cooler than that. I just wanted to explain how it I got to do it. I was actually really shocked. So let's backtrack some more. Go to about 2 weeks before the event. About 2 weeks before the event, I belong to a page on Facebook called Nuke the Fridge. I'll link it below. And they had stated that they had advanced screenings for Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies, PPZ. So I decided, you know what the heck? I'll go. So I took me, the girls, and a friend of theirs from across the street. We went. It was in Burbank at the AMC. We got there. We left here about 4:30. We got there about 6 because it is about an hour and a half to get to Burbank, and we waited in line for an hour. And of course, there was no guarantee, and it even states it on there that there's no guarantee that they'll let you in, that they overbooked the theater because they want everybody to be there. Because basically, the production companies are renting out the whole entire theater. So they want to make sure that they're getting their money's worth. So we went and we saw that. And in the process, right before we went to go see that, I had a notification from Nuke the Fridge again saying that I could win tickets to go see 11/22/63. Now, if you don't know what 11/22/63 is, it's a Stephen King book about a guy who decides he wants to go back in time and stop the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Is an excellent book. I've been listening. It's a very long book. I've been listening a while now on it. Not on it, but to it on Audible. And I have 10 hours left. And it's a 33-hour book. So if you like Stephen King, I'm telling you it's a little bit different. It's more of a time travel, not more of a horror. Excuse me, I don't know how to say that word, I guess. Scary book like It or The Shining or Carrie or any of those, Pet Cemetery. It's nothing like that. It's something I've never read like his. I think that's why it kind of engrossed and it caught just right away. It got me. So I decided, what the heck, why not? It stars James Franco. Can't go wrong. So I put in my information. They asked me how many tickets I wanted. I did say two, since it was just going to be the husband and I, because they said since it was a premiere, it was only for 18 years and older. And all of a sudden I got to the next page and it said, congratulations, you've won the ticket. We've sent the tickets to your email. I was kind of shocked. So that one was actually at the Bruin Theater in Los Angeles. It is outside of Brentwood. It took us about an hour and a half to get there, so we left here about 4:30 again. Basically, what it was a real red carpet. There was a red carpet with the backdrop saying 11/22/63 Hulu, and I was in utter awe when we pulled up. I couldn't believe it. So they said on there to dress to the nines, dress to impress, because it is a premiere. So my husband wore just a button-down kind of shirt and a nice pair of slacks and his dress shoes. I wore, as you could see, just the top was just a long sleeve, kind of thin but not too thick of a top, and a blue circle skirt. I did wear heels, which I regret doing, and I'll explain why later. And I had my hair, as you can see, it was done up pony, had the hair scarf and makeup all done, ready to go. So there was event parking throughout the whole entire block. And they were anywhere from $7 to $20. We actually found a spot across the street from the Bruin, and it cost us $20. Not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. So we go walking across the street to the Bruin, and come to find out where we're situated, we don't get to see the people walking the red carpet, which at first I was bummed, but for what happened when we got in there, I I could care less anymore, and I'll explain why. So we walk, and come to find out, they tell us, "Oh, your line is over there," and our line was around the corner down the street. So this is where I said heels was the worst thing to do. I was on my feet for about an hour and a half, and I don't wear heels a lot, and these are not the best heels. So if you're going to do something like this and they tell you to dress to impress, wear flats. Wear very comfortable flats that go with your outfit. Because honestly, it's not worth it, especially the next day. It's not worth it. So we waited about an hour and 15 minutes, and then we, no, I'm sorry, we waited about an hour and 20 minutes. And that's when they came by and they gave us our tickets. And that's when it dawned on me that we were going to be one of the last groups to be let in. Mind you, there was at least another 50 people behind us. So when they say to be there early, they mean to be there early. I was hearing people saying that they were there from the time they got off of work, which was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So, once we did that, we walked not through the front where they had the red carpet, but through the back side of the theater, which once again was not a good thing to do in heels. I actually took my heels off and did it barefoot. Yeah, I know. It's gross. I know. I understand. But it was either walking, getting gross feet, or hobbling. And I mean, the streets were pretty, there was no glass or anything like that, so it wasn't too big of a deal. And plus, trust me, at this point, I wasn't the only girl doing it. So when we got to the very front of the theater, they were just wrapping up the interviews, it seemed like, and they were rushing everybody through because by this time it was already 7:30, and they wanted to start the premiere at 7:30. So they were kind of rushing us through. That's when I heard JJ, Mr. Abrams, JJ, Mr. Abrams. And I turned and looked real quick, and just across the way was JJ Abrams. Didn't see his face. I just could tell by his tuft of his hair, but I left it. Didn't get to run over, say hi, nothing to that effect because we were being rushed in. So we get into the theater, and they had ushers. And mind you, this theater holds, I think, 500 people. Somebody told me 500 people. So we walk in, and it's absolutely, old school theater. The seats do not recline, they do not come up. You become close with your neighbor real quick. Not a big deal to me. They were giving out, it looked like, free popcorn and free sodas, but because we were being rushed in, we didn't take advantage of that. Not a big deal, once again. So we were shown to our seats. We sat down, and we weren't even sitting for, I'd say, 2 minutes, and they dimmed the lights, and next thing you know, there's Mr. Abrams. That's the clip I showed you. He was talking about how he remembers coming there as a kid, so it only seemed right to have this here, and so on and so forth. And then the writer came out, and after that was the show. I'm not going to say the movie because it's not a movie. 11/22/63 is actually a show. It's a mini series. Excuse me, I was just corrected. It's a mini series. It's 8 parts. The first one was about 2 hours, so I don't know if it's going to be every episode's going to be 2 hours, or if they're going to be an hour, hour and a half, what's going on. But the first one was 2 hours. And let me tell you, James Franco is amazing. He is absolutely amazing. Any of you who've read the book or heard the book and you see this, there's no other person who can play the main character. Nobody. Just the facial expressions and everything. I mean, the cast overall that I saw so far is pretty on point. I mean, they did very well casting. Very well. So we sat and we watched that, but I'm going to tell you really cool little tidbit here. While it was starting, we're about 5-10 minutes in. I hear whispering behind me, and I'm like, why? What's going on? And I hear, look, over there, over there, over there, over there. I'm like, what are they talking about? What are they talking about? No, look over there, over there, over there. So me being nosy, I look over there, and not even 4 people away from me is Mr. Abrams himself watching his film. I mean, I've seen some pretty cool things in life. I've met some celebrities. I've had a conversation kind of with Ice-T. That's another story for another day. And that was legit the coolest thing in the world. And I kind of nudged the husband and I said, babe, over there. Look over there. And he's like, what? Because he's now getting engrossed in the show. He's never seen it, heard about it, nothing. And I said, look, it's JJ. And he's like, oh, cool. And he kind of just turned back and continued watching. But for myself, it was cool. He stood there for a good 20 minutes. So yeah, afterwards, we watched it. Like I said, it's excellent. It's a great film. I will definitely be watching it. Afterwards, they kind of just let us go. They said, thanks for coming. We really appreciate it. And that was the end of it. I'm sure there was a big, huge after party for press and for the actors and whatever else. But for us, we were done. So we walked across back the street, walked across, got into the truck and left. Now, a couple of tidbits, a couple of tips. Number one is, of course, like I said, arrive early. When they say arrive early, you want to be there early. I feel sorry for the people who showed up at 7 o'clock and they thought just because they were in line, they were going to be let in. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen at all. When we went to go see PPZ, it was okay because there wasn't a lot of us there. I mean, there was actually some seats kind of empty. But for this, there was no way. Absolutely no way. And that's why I stressed to the husband, we had to leave early. We had to. LA traffic, we had to take the 405. And if you're from LA, you know the 405 is almost a parking lot. So thank goodness we were going the opposite direction and it wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be. But that brings me to step 2, or I should say tip 2. When they say the president is in town and these roads may be affected, those roads will be affected. The president was in town filming Ellen, I guess. Mm-hmm. And they listed the roads and they listed the times they would be closed. And they stated these may be closed or your route may be affected. Well, coming out, we were trying to get back to the freeway and it wasn't. We had to do a detour about from LA all the way through Hollywood to about where Universal City is. So it was a good half hour out of our way that we had to go. So instead of it taking an hour and a half to get home, it almost took us 2 hours to get home. Just due to the fact of we had to go, the long way home. Which I'm not going to complain because I got to see J.J. Abrams like really close and got to see a free premiere, so I'm not going to complain. Tip number 3 is if you want to do things like this, don't think that it's just for people who are press or people who vlog or blog. Um, I just, no lie, my first vlog was that day. So I had already had the tickets before we went. And the reason why I knew about it was because Nuke the Fridge. Now, Nuke the Fridge for me is like my go to. They have massive um, screening. Like they get tickets. I mean, there was another one shortly after that for something else. I don't know what it was, but there was something else. Um, so yeah, take advantage of that. If you know you're going to be in the LA area or you live in Southern California and you want to try to go to a premiere or an advanced screening, I'll link the page below and just add them, follow them, subscribe, whatever, and just watch out because every once in a while there'll be some type of event and get on it right away because I don't know if they cut off how many are printed at the time, how many they can say what the cutoff is, even though they do overbook. But I would do it as soon as possible. Also, they don't feed you at these things, so be prepared to either get something to eat before. If there is time before the movie starts, get something before the movie starts, or of course, get something afterwards. Now, this is where it comes a little tricky. For PPZ, they didn't let us in until 7:20. They wanted to start the movie at 7:30. Actually, I think it was like 7:25. They wanted to start the movie at 7:30. So when we got in, not only did we have to, by the time we got through security and everything, that's another thing I need to tell you about. Um, I had to run and go get the seats. Actually, I met a really great gal, and she let us sit with her. I'll go ahead and link her blog below. I mean, her vlog below. And I sat while the kids and her went to go get the food, and they came back. Now I know what you're thinking. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you let the kids go by themselves. My kids are older, as you saw in the zoo video. So I think it's pretty safe to say they were okay. I mean, when we were their age, come on. Really? So, yeah. When we went to the premiere, like I stated, there was no time to get the free popcorn or the soda. I didn't know it was going to be that long. Had I known we were going to be out there forever, I would have went to a place close by. That's another lovely thing about these places is that since they are in really populated areas, for example, the Bruin is like right by UCLA, hence the name. So there's a lot of food and drink cafes there. So I could have easily gotten out of line, got a tea, or there was a Starbucks, or there was a pizza place, anything to that effect. But of course, knowing my luck, I would have got out and the line would have moved. But also in Burbank at the AMC, where we saw PPC, it was right there. There was a steak and shake. There was a tea place. There was a pizza place. There was all these other places. Now, here comes the flip side. When you get out, there's a good chance that some of these places are closed. Because it's during the week. So with the Bruin, a lot of it kind of was still open because it is by UCLA and a lot of college students were still out. But with AMC, when we got out, the only thing that was still open was the steak and shake. So the girls and I, we went there. So you have to pick and choose. That's the reason why we didn't get anything. We didn't get anything close by. We just waited till we got closer to home and got Tommy's. Now, tip number 3 is security. It's about security and recording. Now, with PPZ, because it was an advanced screening, we had to give up our phones, and we were frisked, and we were wanded. It sounds funny, but I mean, we had to go through security. Excuse me, we had to go through security, which basically was almost a pat down. Metal detectors. We had to give up our phones. We had to hand in our phones. They gave us a ticket. They put it in a bag and then stapled the other end of the ticket, and that was it. And there was people watching, of course. The phone security was watching the phones throughout the whole movie. Then at the end, we had to go with our ticket. Thank God we didn't lose it, and pick up our phones. And it wasn't that all of our phones were into one bag. Each phone was in a separate bag. So everybody was in charge of their own ticket. So my advice for that, read the fine print. That's how I found out that not everybody was going to be let in, and there was no recording devices, no cell phones, nothing allowed for PPC. So when you do that, just pay attention. Trust me, pay attention. Either leave your cell phones in the car or you're going to hand them over. Now, with 11/22/63, which was kind of odd to me, I don't know, maybe they just got lax with us because due to the fact that we were out for so long, they didn't know how many were going to be let in. They didn't care. Maybe it was a premiere, but I would think because it was a premiere, the security would have been tighter. But we did see security. Security did walk by several times. I'd say at least 20 times, 20 to 30 times. And there was different security guards, and just to make sure that everybody was okay. And when we went in, we just went in. There was no security. There was no wanding, no pat downs, no handing in phones. That's the reason why I was able to get that shot of JJ for you guys. Nothing. You know? So it was, for me, it was odd because we were prepared for it. We were prepared to give up our phones. We were prepared to have to go through security, all that stuff, but we didn't have to do anything of that. We just walked into the theater. The usher said, "Can I see your tickets?" I showed him the tickets, and she showed us where to sit, and she thanked us for coming. So I don't know. It's either way, but either way, be prepared for it. Now, tip number 4, I would say just to have fun. I mean, seriously, you got free tickets to either a movie that nobody's seen yet, but the critics and the people who have to, you know, give a rating to it. I mean, you're one of the first people who get to see it. I mean, you see it before everybody else does. 11/22/63. I mean, I got to see it, what, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 days before it premieres on Hulu. I'm not going to complain. Don't complain about your seats. Don't complain about how crowded it is. It is what it is. It's free tickets. Okay. If you do vlog or whatever and you do end up going to an advanced screening, sometimes they will tell you, oh, you cannot review this movie until it's released, or you can, such and such time or whatever. Just follow directions because you don't want to get sued. Okay? This is one of the main reasons why I waited till Monday to talk about this, so just in case. I mean, they didn't tell us anything on 11/22/63, but I didn't want to get sued. That's why I'm telling you guys on Monday. Okay? So, yeah, that's basically it. I mean, it's a really good thing. I'll go ahead and link Nuke the Fridge below. I'll also link the company that they got the tickets from. So if you don't want to go through Nuke the Fridge, you can go through the company directly. Also, I'll link Sony passes, Sony screenings. Sony screenings, that's what it is. I'll link that one below also, because once you register with these pages, they send you emails of when they're having screenings. So when they say, do you want to create an account? Create an account and then you'll get it. Also, another quick little tip, you are going to have to print out your ticket because they physically take your ticket from you. They ask you how many are in your party, and then they either give you tickets like they did with 11/22/63, and then take, whatever, they take your paper, or they ask you how many in your party and they take your paper like they did for PPZ. So you do have to print it out. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's about it. So also bring cash for parking because you're going to need cash. We found that out the hard way. But thank goodness there was a CVS right next door. The guy was really awesome. He let us park. And I stayed with the truck, and my husband went real quick, ran to CVS, pulled some cash, we paid. Not a big deal. Parking is going to be a little pricey. Like I said, it costs us $20. So anywhere from $7 to $20. I've seen event parking more, especially with the auto show. I think one year we paid $25 to park. And the reason why we paid that much was because it was like right in front of the convention center. So either way. But I mean, it's great. It's a great thing to do. You never know. I mean, if cast or crew is going to be there. When we went to PPZ, there was an actress, one of the actresses from there, one of the girls, she played one of the Bennett sisters. She was there and she was doing some quick little trivia with us beforehand, handing out prizes. And like I said, with 11/22/63, the man himself was there, Mr. Abrams. And Abrams. Jabrams. We're going to call him Jabrams. Because if you say J.J. Abrams real quick, it sounds like Jabrams. Jabrams was there. And the writer was there, and Franco was there too, but I didn't get to see him. And some of the other cast was there. But yeah, it was pretty sweet. It was pretty awesome. Look at 11/22/63 was added onto Hulu today. I checked this morning about it was about noonish my time, and it was already added. I don't know what time they're gonna add them, but they're gonna add one episode every week for 8 weeks. So watch it, get engrossed, get sucked into the world of Mr. Stephen King, because honestly, it was a great show. It was. I mean, my husband, like I said, never had heard about it, never read anything about it. He'd asked me, oh my gosh, at least 30 times what it was about between the time I told him he needs to take the night off to the time, literally to the time we sat down. He asked me what it was all about, and he absolutely loved it, and he said he is going to continue watching it. So I'll go ahead and link all that in the description box below. I will also link an Audible link if you don't have it. Audible's really cool. They have a deal going on where you get a whole month for free, I believe, and you get one book for free. So, I mean, come on. If you get 11/22/63 and then you decide you don't want it, I mean, at least you got it for free. Come on. And also Hulu, I'll link that below if you want to go ahead and do a trial with that. Now, the trials with Hulu, they vary anywhere from a week to 2 weeks to a month to 3 months. I don't know what their deal is. But Hulu's pretty awesome. I think I pay $12.99 a month, and we have no commercials. So, and oh yeah, by the way, this is not sponsored by Hulu or Audible. But if Hulu or Audible would like to sponsor a video, call me. I'll leave it down below. Call me, okay? Email me, whatever. Oh, yeah. All right. So that's about it, guys. If you have any more questions or anything into regards with that, let me know just go ahead and comment below, and I'll go ahead and either comment back, or I will do like an update or a Q&A into regards with it. The next tomorrow, I think I'll talk about going to the zoo, because that's a whole different experience. I've sat and I've thought about it, and I don't know. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys about it tomorrow. Yeah, I think I'll do into regards with that tomorrow. But as of now, I need to go. It's time for me to go to bed, due to the fact that I have one going to camp tomorrow. I'll talk about that on Wednesday. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow will be too emotional to talk about that. I'll have to talk about the zoo, not even to think about that tomorrow. So, tomorrow I'll talk to you about the zoo. Next day I'll talk to you about camp. We'll try to get into this whole daily vlogging thing. Try to. So, yeah. Guess I'll talk to you guys later, and peace and love.